You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, happy Halloween.
And joining us today in the spooky Palace of Megapixels is a content creator who can be found playing a variety of games on Twitch, some spooky, expressing their love of anime on TikTok, and even telling the world how awesome in love they are on Twitter. Once just a mere mod for many other Twitch streamers, she made the move to Twitch streamer, and with her a unique and positive energy on every stream. That winning combination led to such milestones as being a co-host for Twitch Chicago livestream and the event organizer for the Chicago Community Meetups powered by Twitch, plus a number of partnerships with such names as Devolver Digital, Playful Studios, and even Amazon. But even more impressive is their charity work, having raised over $40,000 across multiple charity events such as the Scarathon and the 12 Days of Indies since 2018. But what more can I say about this person that they haven't already said about themselves, and probably in a much better way? Please welcome to the show one of the hardest working people I've seen every day on Twitter, with an equal passion for video games, anime, and even wrestling, the hype queen herself, YebbaDebba.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that intro. I'm blushing over
Maybe
here.
the best.
Oh my gosh. First of all, it is so lovely to be here. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been an insurmountable mountain to finally get over here. And it's like the stars all aligned, calendars aligned, my work isn't on fire. Like, it's great. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Long overdue. So, I know that we were actually talking about a few games when we were kind of having our back and forth trying to get this going. But before we get to those, I wanted to get your input on a game that I saw that you were playing recently on one of your VODs on YouTube, and that was Chicory. Because a few weeks back, if Lace will probably remember, I mentioned that I played it for a bit and I wasn't completely wowed by it, which kind of hit me, caught me off guard. I thought, well, this would be kind of a fun game. I guarantee I'd kind of get into it. And I don't know. I think maybe I started it too soon after another game, and I wasn't sure if it was for me. So tell me your feelings on that game.
Yeah, so I loved Chicory, A Colorful Tale. I do think there were probably two things to keep in mind that probably influenced the level of enjoyment. One was the platform. I played it on Switch, and I felt like this was a better built game for mouse and keyboard. So I think with the detail that you needed to color things, or just maybe the speed in which you wanted to fill out one of the maps or get through the puzzles or be able to draw and do those things, it probably would have been a better fit if it was on a mouse and keyboard. So I feel like if you didn't get it on the right console, that's probably going to be part of the influence there. Second is, if you like text-based heavy games, this will be the one for you. If you don't like that and you want things to keep moving and you don't want to have interactions with people, you just want to get through the storyline, Chicory is probably not the best fit. But I will say the dialogue and the story and the character development and how you interact with each of the individual characters was absolutely stunning. So they put a lot of heart and a lot of emotion and a lot of just personal, like introspective review of, like, this is where I was, this is where I am now. Am I an imposter? Like, should I even be the wielder? Should I not be the wielder? Am I a terrible person? And like so the subject matter can get a little introspective and maybe hard for some people. Now, I've been going to therapy for like a long time, so it's not for me, but I can definitely see how that would be Probably not the best subject matter for someone.
Sure.
But in terms of just an overall experience, it was probably the most unique I've played in a while, in terms of just the puzzles and the mechanics and the overall story. So I mean, that was one I finished offline and recorded myself doing because I enjoyed it so much and I wanted to share it with people. So yeah, no, that was a 10 out of 10 game.
Okay. I think I just need to kind of come back to it at a better time, because I think I hit it. I was playing it right after I finished something, and sometimes genre hopping. You're already kind of in this mode for this one kind of game, and then you go into something a little lighter, and it's just like it's not doing it for me right now. So
Absolutely.
I do want to come back to it. So I'll definitely do that at some point. Did you have a chance to play Moonlighter? That was another game that you were asking about.
Yes, I had not had a chance to play it. I did see one or two of my fellow mutuals playing it on their streams one time, and I know that it's going to be a game that I enjoy because, you know, it's roguelike. There are different instances. When it comes to things, it's never the same. So it kind of has that like Binding of Isaac / Hades kind of mechanic to it. And then there's also like the building up the store and managing all that stuff. So it really, I know it's going to hit all of the things that tickle my brain and make me happy. So I know that that's going to be a fun one. And I thought the art style was stunning, just in terms of uniqueness and personality. So I'm very much looking forward to that. The one that has hooked me currently, that probably has usurped a Moonlighter a bit, is Dome Keeper.
Dome Keeper. I know I've heard that.
It's so good.
I can't think of it. Okay, I'm going to put that down on a list to check out, because I know I've heard of it. Dome Keeper.
So gotcha. It's just a multi-task bonanza as you fight aliens and dig for stuff. So it's nice. Like, yeah. So it's like Dig Dug and what's that one? Tower Defense. It's kind of like Dig Dug and Tower Defense, like mashed together in a cute little pixelated game.
All right. Well, we are probably going to ask you a few more questions a little farther down the line, but I want to do some business up front. First of all, our good friend Eric Slater was on the latest episode of Horror Ramblings, so if you guys want to go check that out, we were talking about the first 3 Halloween movies. I called it John Carpenter's Halloween trilogy, which, you know, might ruffle some feathers, but I did that on purpose. I wanted to see what people would say. And then we also, Lace and I, together, were on the latest episode of Podcasters Disassembled with our good pal Zach Derby, talking about Hocus Pocus. What did we think about it? You got to go listen. We're not going to tell you here.
No.
I finally watched the second one last night.
And what did you think?
I loved it.
Did you?
I loved it. I can see people's criticisms or how it didn't flow right for them, but in terms of I waited 29 years and this is what I got, I was very happy.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, it had some moments. I don't think I had the nostalgia level. Here I am spoiling part of the episode.
Apologies.
But you know, I mean, I think that was part of a lot of the draw for some people who wanted the sequel. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'll throw it away from there. Another thing too, and this may seem like a random thought, but this kind of relates back to a previous episode. Do you remember, Lace, we had this conversation about the actor Cary Elwes and how when he gets angry and he shouts words, it sounds off.
I think he slips back into his accent.
What accent? What accent is that?
I think he's... God, now I'm going to look
I didn't think he was British.
I'm never confident in my own brain ever for anything anymore.
I mean, sometimes I think he is. Sometimes I think he's not.
English.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well.
I was like, I thought so. But yeah, so I think maybe it's just one of those things where you get so irritated, you tend to slip back in. It's good acting.
I guess. Well, see, I think the movie that I kind of noticed it in was Saw, where he was like, you bastard, you bastard. And I was so confused. And then the other day, I came back to Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I hadn't watched that movie in a long time. And he shouted at someone, and he did it again. And I was like, Okay, so that wasn't a fluke. It was weird.
Yeah.
So
Maybe it's just one of those things.
he shouldn't shout at people. That's all I'm saying. He's a great actor, and I love him to death.
Or
but-
just do it in an English a movie where everyone
Yeah,
where everyone has the same accent. I don't
keep
know.
him calm. He's
Right.
nicer
Just
calm.
be chill, man.
Yeah,
It's
you're cool.
You've earned your way now to do chill movies.
Okay.
Well, he started chill, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know.
Uh,
Princess Bride's pretty chill.
I wanted to kind of tell you both the story and kind of get your input. And I'm going to leave out a few details because I feel like it's there's reasons. Anyway, so have you guys encountered like online money scams?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other day, I wake up to a missed call, a text message, and all this info saying that I received money in my bank account, a transfer from Zelle for an amount of money that was a little extreme. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so whatever. I just assumed it was a spam text,
Sure.
and I was just ignoring it. So paid it no mind, but then I looked at my bank account, and there sits the money. And I was like, what is this? And I was afraid to do anything because I don't know what this is. I don't know who the person was. This was someone who sent it via Zelle, and I was looking for loopholes. Like, is there some way they can retract this back and take more money back? Or, because I've seen those where people will send you money for a product that you're trying to sell, and then they'll say, oh, well, we can't authorize it until you give us, X amount of money back, and then we'll take this, but then they never send you money, right?
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
So I've seen that. But the money is in my account, and I don't know who this person is. I don't have a way to send it back to them because I don't know where it came from. So I'm kind of putting a pin in this to just hang on to until I can figure out what to do with it. Because it seems as though it could have been an accident,
Right.
but the name
This day and
associated
age, yeah.
the name associated with it seems like one of those scammer names.
Did you
that
try
you
looking up the name and stuff?
I
Maybe there's
did.
Reviews. Oh, okay.
And there were so many across the United States. And this one came straight from California based on the phone call that I received.
Right.
Because their name also showed up. And if it's the same person, they're a doctor? I don't know.
I'd contact your bank.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
absolutely do the same and just be like, hey, in my rudimentary research, this is what I found. I found that I also have a transaction here. What should I do?
Yeah.
Maybe
Because-
they'd be more familiar with it happening and has a plan.
Yeah, because I mean, my biggest thing is that I didn't want to make a move until, I was waiting
Oh,
to
I
see
wouldn't
how.
send them anything back yet.
No.
Until I've had that conversation, just in case.
Right, and that
Yeah.
that was the first thing I started doing is I started looking up Zelle scams, and I couldn't find anything to this effect, and I was really confused. But I'm sure that there are some other people out there who would have just been like, "I got free money," and they just start spending.
Sure.
I'm
But
not that
could be
schmuck.
what they want.
Exactly. So I wasn't about to make that mistake. It's just sitting quietly. If anything, it's just helping my bank account look fancy. But that's about as far as I want it to
Drinks
go.
on you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any day of the week. So, yeah, I was curious. I'm not going to be an idiot and go on a shopping
Yeah, I hadn't
spree.
heard of that, but yeah, that would
And it would have
raise the hairs on my neck. Like, what's going on?
It may have made me feel a little bit better that it was not a scam had the person who called actually left a message.
Right.
And being like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. How you got my number, I don't know. I mean, slip of the finger, I guess.
Or
but-
like one digit off or something. I don't know. I feel like I always needed the email also when I said Zelle, but now I don't remember. I've had.
Because I felt like, it could be your phone number. It could be your email. I don't know. Either way, it didn't set right with me, and it still doesn't. And I kind of don't want this. It could be blood money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want it out of my bank account.
Or they could be doing it on their side for fraud and being like, I didn't mean to send this, or this was a transaction that I wanted to receive a service. This person didn't give me the service. So therefore, I need your action to help me do this. And then they probably get money back before disputes are settled, and then they run into their next con. So who knows?
Very clever. I didn't think about that. Okay.
If only these people would use their intelligence for good.
Right?
Because all this stuff is so smart. It's like, just use it for good things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the same with cybersecurity. It's like, oh, you found a loophole in something. Okay, maybe instead of exploiting it, you could report it, or maybe help them make a patch so it doesn't become that exploitable. Be the inventor
of how we got saved in this area. Yeah.
Like
we could sing your praises forever and make statues in your honor.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I understand that you want to feel like the biggest person in the room. How about you have some altruism in there too, and then maybe it'll happen. Instead of, the FBI showing at your doorstep because you're a jerk. So
just constantly moving countries so you can get out of Dodge.
Ay caramba.
So anybody out there who's thinking about, if this happens to you and you want to go spend the money, don't.
Yeah, don't.
Because they come knocking at my door, I'll be like, here it is.
Yep.
There you go. So, but I want to ask you a very simple question we ask every guest. What have you been playing?
Yes. So I would say there's probably 3 games that are in cycle at the moment. So one of them is Dome Keeper, just because I want to keep unlocking. There's different levels, there's different types of gameplay, there's different weapons, there's different all sorts of stuff. So, of course, the collect 'em all is wanted when it comes to any of those games. The second one is Wildflowers. That's Wildflowers, WYLDE. That was a game from an Australian studio, and they. I think the best way that I can put it is it's Stardew meets Harvest Moon meets Little Witch in the Woods. And so it's a dating sim, but also a management sim and an errand sim. But there's also mystery, and it's fully voice acted. It's an indie game that is fully voice acted, which I was like, finally, a game I don't have to sit here and read the entire time I am playing it on Twitch. This is great. So, so that was we started that one. I think we played for 4 hours, and it had a good little spin to it so far. So that one's going to be a continuous game. But probably the game that is running my schedule and my brain right now is Disney's Dreamlight Valley, because it is just so much fun. So, by fun, I mean it's 1.5 million chores, but of course there are Disney characters, so it's okay. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Lace, what about you? What have you been playing?
Hodgepodge week. I, for some reason, got my hubs into Dead Cells, which also meant that I needed to start playing it again.
Such a good game. Such a good game.
It really is. It really is. So messed around with that for a couple of lives, and then I actually played a spoopy VR game for a little bit yesterday. I didn't last very long because I don't have my VR legs anymore. Oh my goodness! I lasted about 20 minutes of moving around. I'm like, I don't think I can do this anymore. But we played Forewarned. We were archaeologists. Digging, and when you hear supernatural things or whatever, you have a little tablet that you could check off. I saw scratches, I heard footsteps, I heard crying, or whatever, and then you determine which monster is down there, how to defeat it or protect yourself from it, and then still get the treasure, and then get out alive. I did never get out alive, but it kind of just creeped me out because the little mummies and everything will just come out of nowhere. And honestly, I was like, my famous last words was, "Hey guys, I heard whistling." Dead. So that's a clue. I was supposed to, I guess, go somewhere else when I heard the whistling. I'm just like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just wait out here until you guys are done. That's the only thing in-game microphone. I wish we could still kind of talk to people.
Yeah.
Because then I'm just kind of wandering around now waiting for them to finish finding the treasure before I'm released. Because you can go back in once as the archaeologist, and then you get taken down like a little river, and then Osiris or whatever is standing there in front of the door, and then now you have to be a mummy, either a bad mummy or a mummy that can help. And
No.
never could find my way anywhere to go help or anything. So I'm just wandering around this room going, I guess they're doing pretty good because I'm still here. Guess they're still fighting it. So I had to go play it flat. So after that. And then, of course, I had to dive into Simulacra 3 because that released and I finally had some time. I haven't finished it yet. But it's definitely more Simulacra. I am enjoying the little premise, and they've upped their game as far as the video production and everything goes, which,
Good.
you know, as they've gone along, this is their 4th or 5th one, because they've had the 2 spin-offs too. So enjoying it very much so. And then slayed the Spire last night till I fell asleep.
Okay.
Very nice.
You back into that, are you?
Do you know, it plays so well on the Steam Deck. And when I'm just wanting to just chill, maybe run a few hands of it before I'm going to bed or something, it's great. Because then I don't, I can just be in bed and do it. It's probably bad. But yeah, how about you, Steven?
Well, 2 games. I continued on with 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, which I'm really enjoying. Once you get your skill levels up, you can really turn into a badass. So I'm really enjoying that. And trying to find... You can collect different beads and shoes and weapons, and then each one kind of changes your stats on what you can do, or like how well you can either use your health or like your special moves and things like that. I realized that I like to be fast, so anything that can increase my speed, that's what I need. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But it was a lot. I mean, it's still a lot of fun. And they kind of have like a replay value to where you can go back and you can find secrets and then you unlock those secrets. But then you can also earn the experience and kind of apply that. So we've been kind of going back before we progress. So we're kind of, I think, around chapter 4 when I think there's 5 chapters. So
Okay.
We're slowly getting there. We play a lot, but it's kind of slow going because we like to kind of go back and find those secrets and give us a boost, get good, as they say. And then Marvel's Avengers, I'm
surprised you're still in it.
I can't help it. I don't know why. I got so...
Hey, if you like it, you like it. Let people like things.
It's the characters. It's Marvel. It's the thing. And that's what's keeping me in it. And I did not realize how much I would love playing certain characters. But I think I've played with Captain America more than I thought I would. I thought I would be like Hulk Smash or something like that. And that would just be really awesome. Which is cool. But Cap, such a badass. I mean, it's just like shield throw, kick, throw, bah, bah. And I don't want to like overpower him, so I kind of bounce around, but I finally progressed in the story beyond the ending to the next level to where you start messing around with Hawkeye. And Kate Bishop, oh damn, is she amazing. Like the things you could do with her. I was just like, my God, I think I found another favorite because she's got this
awesome.
Oh my God, is she I can't, I want to play now thinking about where I was in the story.
Well, good.
But yeah, I mean, I was really surprised at how much I got into it. I didn't think I would like it because I heard all the negativity, and I get the negativity. But I'm just not seeing. I guess I came in late to the game to where
or
all
you're
the
just playing it in a different way.
maybe
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah, most people I think were more addicted to the online, and maybe you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I have not played with a soul, and I really don't want to play with anyone unless I know who my team is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I had some friends who had the game and wanted to play it, I would gladly. But online people just, they're
that's
the
fair.
worst.
For me, I don't like it either, but I feel like we're probably in the minority there. People love their online multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And all, more power to them. It's not for me.
You like
mostly.
It?
I like the friends I have, and it's a very small circle.
Right. I've met enough people in my life, so no. Kind kind of full.
You can only keep so many. It's
true.
It's just the quality of upkeep of friendships. It's like, I will always be nice and friendly to new people, but and if you want to call me your friend, great. But in terms of like close friends, in terms of people that I would talk to on a regular basis, it's a close knit of folks. So
Yeah. Friends are overrated. Anyway, Lace, do you have any news that you might want to share?
Well, we do have a little bit of news that went on this week. I mean, first off, let's just follow up with the one thing we reported on, and then immediately we got our answer to the next day with the whole voiceover Helena Taylor unfortunate tomfoolery that it appears that she had pulled here. So she confirmed in a series of tweets that maybe she didn't realize she did, but had conflicted prior information that she said in her videos. So, yes, it does appear that now, unfortunately for me, I don't know what... Yebba may have been following this, seen it.
I was, yeah.
With,
and I listened to your past, like, 3 episodes about it. So, not about this, but about news.
Yeah. And it's kind of just sounding, unfortunately to me now, my opinion, was bitter that they maybe continued the game without her and kind of started putting this out there thinking she had a little bit more sway or pull with the Bayonutters, I guess as they're called. It's just very unfortunate. I'm sure you've already seen other people talking about it because, you know, voice actor pay is an important conversation. It is one that should have been had. And it's an unfortunate. She could have done this without having to lie. I think she still could have taken the part, still came out and said that this was all I was offered, you know, and this is a conversation that we should probably be having more of is fair pay in voice acting and in video games.
Right.
I don't feel like there needed to be any lies of omission or misleading statements. It would have been a valid conversation to have without the lies.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really gross. And to drag Jennifer's name through it just settled even worse on me. Like it's not her fault.
No.
She took a part, and to say you don't get to call yourself Bayonetta, it's like, well, you were offered it.
Yeah. And it was also one of those, when I initially heard the studio release that it was 4,000 or whatever the amount was per session, in my mind, I immediately went, oh, was that not communicated properly? Like, was that, was like the way that it was worded or the way that the contract was sent, that it came across as it was, you know, that was the sum of what it was going to be instead of it being per session, and then it was a misunderstanding and it just escalated. Like that, I probably would have understand. Like, yeah, you'd still look like a fool, but it's also just one of those. At least you'd still be a genuine fool,
Right.
So, like, I mean, this has been my criticism of a lot of social media news and a lot of things. Is everybody is so quick to react, but nobody is quick enough or smart enough or nuanced enough or pays attention long enough for the resolution. And then it's like the bulk of the conversation happens when everything's lit. And then the second everyone finally is like, oh, the smoke cleared, and now if we fully understand it, the conversation's no longer there. And it's like,
because other people have passed and moved on, already made their decision, not looking into anything.
And that's
more.
Exhausting because it still is a conversation that needs to be had. You know, I mean, this happens with manga artists. This happens with animation studios. This happens with game devs. This happens with voice actors. This happens with script writers.
Like, anything. Yeah.
The lowest paying job that I ever had was the hardest working job, where I worked 16 hours for the government. Like, why is that a thing? So like, so it's just one of those, like, I wish we had the patience to actually address things, but I know, and because we've been so media trained, this is all media, not just social media, we've been so media trained that unless it's something that is long lasting, it's going to be a flash in the pan and then we move on to the next meal. And it just, it sucks. And it's frustrating. And as somebody who likes to deep dive into things, you know, I'm known for ranting about topics over and over and over again. You know, people can come in and be like, Walmart sucks. And then I'll be like, 40 minutes of this is why Walmart sucks and so does capitalism.
Right. I will give you the reasons that I've thought out as to why. Not
exactly. And it's just like, you know, listen to subject matter experts, listen to activists, listen to the people who are having these conversations, and stop giving every single person who has an opinion the time of day and then just losing interest in something. Like, just come on. Just try a little harder, folks.
It's a very frustrating situation overall. So, I mean, I guess best wishes to them all. I think she might have inadvertently caused maybe better sales, because if you know how other people are.
Oh, the
like,
backlash.
You lied
backlash.
about it? Yeah. We're going to go buy it now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Best wishes to Jennifer. Helena,
Never.
go do you somewhere else, I guess, at this point. Like, I don't know. It sounds like she wasn't a voice actor initially. So it sounds like a lot of her stuff was from theater and things. So it sounds like there could have been a lot of misunderstanding on how this portion of it goes on her part. A little bit extra hubris and having the 2 games under her belt, thinking maybe she had more pull on the whole project than she did. Maybe upset that they filmed without her. And then she was offered a minor role, which was what the 4,000 was. After 10 months had gone by, they were like, okay, we'll give you a smaller role for a 4,000 flat. You know, you could just be a cameo.
Right.
And that, I think, was the thread she tried to pull on as far as, but this was what I was offered for the whole game. It's like, well, yeah, for that part, after 10 months had gone by and they had already recast you.
They got a timeline. I'm a project manager by trade. You got a timeline. It's either the solution or you got to find a different one. Come on, people.
Right. Yeah. So I guess she just thought they weren't doing anything. I don't know. Now I'm putting words in her mouth. But it's just now it sounds like, oh, they filmed anyway? Well, now I'm going to, try to ruffle some feathers. So we'll see if we see her in any voice roles anytime soon.
Probably
Might
not.
have just kind of shot herself in the foot there. And, well, if this is what you're working with.
Just go to audiobook recording.
There you go.
Just go to that.
So, yeah, I don't know if you had any thoughts on it, Steven, or if you had caught up on the resolution.
No,
Looks like we've moved on, of course. But
I looked at it, and it's a disappointing thing. And all the points that both of you made, I can't really add much more to it. I think I actually had a bit of social media fatigue. Not that it's new, but there was something this week where it was almost seemed like the entire social media space was just turning in on itself, and it's going to implode very soon.
Well, it's shifting hands. We're all panicking for a minute, maybe.
Because, the hatred used to be kind of focused, centralized in one spot, and now it's moving all over the place, so everyone just gets to be angry about everything.
Yeah.
One thing that just kind of hit me this week, that it just seemed so out of place. And I guess maybe someone needs to contextualize it for me to understand, is Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, had made a statement about Chadwick Boseman at the premiere of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and the internet lost their shit about it. And
what'd he say? I must have missed this.
What he was trying to say, or at least the way I kind of understood it, is he was saying, I respect and, love this man and everything that he did and what he brought to this role. And he then said, I hope to honor you in this tradition going forward. Then the internet said, oh, it's all about you now, is it? And I don't think that's what he was trying to say or what he was trying to do. And
you're right. People are just looking for the reasons to be mad or outraged now.
Yeah, and it was
words in people's mouth.
Yeah, it did not sit right with me, and I was like, my God, we're just going to tear everybody down for any little thing anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, it was ridiculous. But
that's
that's
disappointing.
Yeah, right. And these people they're just doing their jobs or their things or moving on, and
right.
have no idea what kind of fandom they're stepping into sometimes.
I mean, that was the farthest thing from his mind in that moment.
Yeah,
he was trying to be respectful. He, to me, I kind of took it as what Chadwick Boseman did for the role was huge for Black culture. The film itself was huge for that same reason, and I think he was kind of looking at it as. He hopes he can do
this too, I believe.
Right.
So
I think he was just trying to say he hopes that he too can do the same. And it wasn't about turning it back on himself, but look at the legacy that man left in such a short amount of time.
Right.
Wouldn't that be awesome if we could all kind of be even half the person he was. And I don't know. I didn't take
it
as...
It makes you wonder when people are so quick to default to that everything is a nefarious reason. It's like, you must be a joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, I think a lot of that is also pure outrage fatigue. I think there's so many things that happen that are out of our control, that we have negative outlooks on, that we have negative feelings about, or that are stressful, or, how many historic once in a lifetime events have you and I and everybody gone through? A lot. And it's one of those, I don't understand how people take the energy to either read into a situation or fabricate a reason for outrage when there is literally so much already around us. And the only thing I can think of is that it's something they can control. It's something that they can narrate, and it's something that they have the reins to, and that they can quote unquote control. You can't control anything, spoiler alert. But it's very much just like I feel like there's a deeper reason to do that. And then I know I had this conversation on Twitter, I think like a month and a half ago, is that outrage sells. So that's why all of that content, and especially with me being in the anime space, this, the next big three, or why Bleach shouldn't be part of the big three, or like, all this stuff. I'm like, you guys are just doing this to piss people off in ororder to get views. And, and
but
I
the
feel
clicks and everything,
and that's the incentive. That's the incentive for being an asshat on the internet, is so you can get numbers racked up like Ludwig. Not that Ludwig is an asshat. I'm saying that that's what people aspire to
aspiring to be a Ludwig. Yes.
Yeah, I actually like Ludwig. So.
Oh, no, he seems fine.
Yeah.
I've seen him a little bit. I've never watched any of his live streams. I just remember when he blew up, and I'm like, well, I should go check this out, because I feel like nowhere, and then all of a sudden everywhere. So, and it kind of worked that way for him, like over a year's worth of time. So good for you, man.
Yeah. I'm a big Northern Lion fan. I love his commentary. He's my age, and he's hysterical. And it was him and Ludwig who did a joint thing together, and I was like, this guy's really funny. And it was, therefore, my partner's like social media influencer experience is completely different than mine, and I used him as a barometer of like, okay, so like what's trending, like what's out there, like who are the hot people, like when you're not signed into a social media account, because he has zero, he has none. He has none whatsoever. Not even a Reddit, and that's where he mostly lives. Doesn't even have a Reddit, just lives on it.
I thought he used to have a Twitter. Maybe I don't know. I heard about him enough on Twitter that I just assumed.
Yeah. And it was just one of those like, okay, so like what gets served up to you when your algorithm or like your choices haven't been made? Like what gets served to you on all of these things? And it's vastly different than the world that I'm in. So it's interesting. It was just kind of like it was kind of like a nice little look into like, what do platforms push out? What do algorithms, when you don't have these things logged in, and no cookies and no trackers and no digital ads are following you through emails. I'm in marketing, so I know all of this, and it's just very much like, I don't know. It was fascinating, but that was one of the common threads that I found of like, if you're big, you're going to get pumped out to people who know nothing about the internet and nothing about the culture and nothing about these communities. They are going to serve you the biggest names all of the time, forever.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
Speaking of
start messing with your algorithm.
Speaking of asshats, since we were kind of bringing them up, what was the consensus for the two of you over the Elon Musk now owning Twitter? Because that seemed to be a conversation this week.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really keen on him having it in the first place, but I don't really expect anything to become better or worse. I just feel like we've just switched hands to the next.
Yeah. The main thing that's going to happen is that people who were initially banned are going to come back. Kanye West is already back on the platform. Yeah. Donald Trump is coming next. Spoiler alert.
Sure. He wanted it for a while, though.
Yes. So it's one of those. He has a very specific outlook and a very biased outlook on what he considers free speech. But as per usual, he's never built anything. He just buys things at the right time and takes credit for it. So whatever happens with the company, he either is going to say, yep, that was all me, or he was going to say it was ruined from the start. This was a poor investment. Everybody should, sell their stocks, and then sells the company for pennies later on, whatever.
Right.
So I don't like Elon Musk, and I don't hide that at all. I have
no love lost here.
No.
Not a good man.
So no. And it's just one of those, it's all for him to just raise his own portfolio. There's no genuity behind it. There's no actual want for any of these things to get better. Saying that it's all about free speech is a dog whistle. It's bullshit. So it's just, I don't know. I'm already planning on spinning down from that site quite a bit. It's probably just going to be announcements, if that. Yeah. And unfortunately, I do need it for some things because, I'm in the sponsorship realm. That's how I meet people. That's how people find me. That's how I'm able to get the certain things that I have. So it kind of sucks that, some people are pigeonholed, but in all reality, if you can not be on that, get off of it. And also only 6% of the fucking population is on it anyway. So who gives a shit?
No, this has been my point for a while. Steven's heard me complain about this all the time. I get so irritated when I hear news stations or anything. Twitter says, and I'm like, why?
6%
are we going to Twitter? It's like a small percentage of the entire world. And then when you boil it down to the people who regionally would be affected by what you're talking about, what, 20 people tweeted that day about it and we're putting it on the news? Yeah.
And that's the common thread of creating, sensation and misinformation is people said, and it's okay, it wasn't a person, it was actually a bot. And also it's also just because 20 people are talking about it and it's quote unquote trending does not mean that the majority of humanity feels this way.
Right.
So
when I see trending, it's 2,000 tweets and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and 1,500 of them are from the same account that just wrote a script in order to pump out a certain hashtag. Who gives a crap? So yeah, it's exhausting. Again, I feel like this is all that nuanced look into things, and you have to really, really take a step back from social media to see the ilk in it. But it's also one of those. It's ever present, and especially if we're all in content creation, we have to reach people. So what's the happy balance between using a very good tool that is constantly scanned, that has great SEO, that shows up on Google searches? That's one reason why to use Twitter. That's one of the best reasons to use Twitter, is because if you search something, guaranteed in the top 5 posts is going to be either a Twitter account or it's going to be a tweet. So it has really great presence when it comes to that stuff. But okay, how impactful is that? How good is that? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? So so that's also just internet ethics, whatever.
Yeah, right.
No big deal.
But yeah, I wasn't a fan of him wanting to take it over in the first place. So
it's all
just
selfish.
been watching it, unfold as it happened, and tried to keep it out of my brain because I'm like, well, I can't control whatever's going to happen.
And
here,
honestly, that's a healthy freaking outlook at this point in life.
I'm trying.
I think you're doing great.
Therapy's taught me a thing or two myself.
Love it. Everybody go to therapy.
Anyway, right? Everyone should.
Yes. It should be free.
If you can. It should be.
Yeah, really.
And open on the weekends. That's another debate.
Yeah. I just have it my lunch period, whatever day works, because I already have my lunch hour blocked out on my calendar, and I'm like, you cannot schedule over this. I become a very hangry person, and you will not want to work with it.
Right.
So,
this is my time.
Do not do that. But yeah. So
yeah. All right. Well, more game stuff. More game stuff. I kind of wanted to chat with you because I wanted to hear your thoughts on this story that came out this week about Bosses Studios. Dev had did some tweets and everything about the Xbox Series S being an albatross around the neck of production. Maybe we hadn't heard this. So Ian McClure was saying that basically because the Series S has made a lot of accommodations to be more economical and doesn't run with the same memory and everything as you got the PlayStation 5 and the X, that the S is the one holding things back because you have to factor in the lowest common denominator, especially when it's for crossplay. Here's where crossplay is going to start biting you all in the butt. wanting the crossplay. So it sounds like we have a few devs that have been chatting about this, wanting to actually get rid of the Series S as a requirement for putting out their games, because they are starting to feel a little bottlenecked, having to run. People want the 60 frames per second. Yep. They want the 60. They want the 60. Xbox S can do 30, from my understanding, what I've been reading about this.
Yep.
They can't go much heavier if S is going to be a requirement for these games to run on.
Okay, but he's throwing... Now, this is going to be a first, like I'm sitting here defending Microsoft, but Sony's doing the same thing. You have...
They have a second console that's
PlayStation
less?
4. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 4. Look what they've done with God of War. Is that not... Ragnarok?
But is that a requirement? Have they been making that a requirement?
But if they're
they're their own studio, so
right,
I feel...
but if they're putting it on the PlayStation 4 and 5, they're having to make accommodations to run on a weaker platform.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would be the difference? If you're going to throw shade at one, you got to throw shade at both.
Well,
maybe it's maybe it's the platform itself. That might just be technical nitty-gritty that it's not. But this is making me think of like Internet Explorer versus Chrome. Of, I have to design websites with my job and to keep Internet Explorer in mind, because there's still a fraction of the population that still uses it. So the second we started getting, they're coming out with Edge, they're no longer supporting Internet Explorer and everything like that. Like, that was a huge sigh of relief, because it's like, why am I going to keep making an advanced platform for something that just does not support this types of new technology? Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting question of, like, if it's that hard on the devs, and if it's too much time, if it's gonna eat into crunch time, if it's gonna ruin QA, if they have the possibility of rolling out a bad game, and as we've seen with, like, Cyberpunk and a bunch of those other games, if you have a terrible rollout, people forget about your game. So they remember that you sucked, but they don't remember that you fixed everything.
That you came back and Not everyone could do a Hello Games, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So it's very much just one of those. I feel like there's maybe some technical speak in there that maybe we don't have sight to as to why that works with PlayStation,
it looked like the
but
biggest
doesn't
complaint
work for
was like the
Xbox.
memory.
So
because the memory is so much less, I guess, in the S, which would cause certain things to not be able to be at its full capacity, because you still have to work within
Interesting.
that. Phil Spencer came out saying that they've been making trying to adjust this to make the memory better. I guess they are acknowledging that it's a little bit of a
mismatch.
We did it this way on purpose to make it more affordable and kind of put sort of next gen into the hands of people, even though not quite. But yeah, I just thought it was hilarious that he called it a potato of a console. Like, this is one dev apparently that has been super irritated, wanting to go above those benchmarks and getting pissed off that S has to be one of the requirements that they have to factor in, which means, in this person's mind at least, I can't see the game to its full potential with the next generation, because I have to cater to the smaller console, or the less beefy, I guess, of the three.
So then PlayStation, I guess, across consoles still has better memory than maybe how the Xbox were configured?
That's a good question, because I didn't think about the 4, because I feel like I've been seeing a lot more games just moving over to the next gen and forgetting about last. Yep. So I've been seeing that already. PlayStation 5, sorry about it. Like, we're moving on.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, it was no knock against the CPU powers or anything. They all acknowledged, like, that's good. But gamers, I guess, aren't really understanding what 60 frames, would mean, and what we need to make it happen on every game. And supposedly this potato, I couldn't believe he called it a potato.
Also, there's nothing wrong with potatoes.
It can't be that bad. Like,
I love potatoes.
Console, a little butter, salt, sour cream, fix that baby up.
Yep.
So Spencer has acknowledged that, and apparently is giving them more control over the memory and trying to add more of that in, which can improve graphics and the constraints they were coming around. But I don't know if you think it really is bottlenecking at all. My question, I guess, is, should we keep doing that? Or should we allow the developers to move on to the next gen? Because it always seems like there's something that wants to hold up the progress for a while. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the thing for sure, but if that's an issue, do you think we should just let them move on and make S a requirement, or should that be optional?
Well, I am curious when it comes to the PlayStation side of things, because we do continue to see releases of games that do cater back to the PlayStation 4. So I am curious if we've actually gotten to see what the 5 is capable of on its own. Mm-hmm. Because if they're still catering to a 4 or even a 4 Pro, then they're having to work within those limitations. So I don't think we've actually gotten to see what the 5 can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Returnal was 5 only, right? But I don't know how many boundaries it pushed, as far as it slapping me in the face. This was next generation.
I mean, nothing to the scale of something like God of War Ragnarok. I mean, I know that's coming up, but the fact that they said that was on both platforms surprised me.
Right.
Because I thought this was your opportunity. Now you're going to show what your console can do.
It's been a couple years now, yeah.
And you're kind of holding it back a little bit. Looks fantastic, don't get me wrong. But how much better could it have been? I don't know.
That's kind of
I'm just speculating.
That's kind of like the chicken and the egg question for marketing is, do we want to maximize the amount of sales per game, or do we want to maximize the enjoyment and the reviews of the latest gen and then also push the console more? But it's very hard to do that when we've had the same supply chain issues and availability issues that PlayStation seems to be plagued with constantly. So
sure.
Right. Yeah, my goodness, still this long out. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I'd love to hear your opinion on that, to see if that's something that we should allow devs to take that requirement off. Make it optional. I mean, I almost feel like it depends on how big are you envisioning your game. Would it compromise what you wanted from it? And in my opinion, is it compromising your vision? Then maybe. But if you're not allowed to not make it a requirement, what do you do?
I feel like I'm biased because I have an S and I also have a PlayStation 4. So
you're like, keep making games, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably.
Well, then I guess that is a more interesting
soon.
question. Would you prefer the developers to move on from it, or do you think?
Well, I feel like that's also a question where I'm not. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, because I like games that don't need high performance. Because I prefer indie titles, and I prefer kind of the slower farmer sims. Would I love like a Harvest Moon-esque game in 4K? Like, sure, that'd be awesome. If I can pet cows and be super happy. Right. But I think the highest performing games, the two that I've played, have actually been Gundam games. So I'm going to be playing SD Alliance actually today, finally. I bought that, and then I was playing Gundam Evolution, which is essentially the Gundam version of Overwatch. And I keep learning this about myself. I keep forgetting, and then I get in it, and I'm like, I don't actually like competitive gaming, but I wanted to try it because it's Gundam. So it's one of those, like, do I think I maybe would have enjoyed this more if I had a higher performing PC, or if maybe I was on the latest gen console? I think so. And they were serviceable, and especially Evolution looked really pretty, and it was a lot of fun, and it ran great. But it was also just one of those, it feels a little boxy, and maybe it could have been a little higher resolution or a little more optimal than probably what I have right now. But that's also just the hardware limitations that I have. I desperately also need a new computer, so it's just how much of it is the game's responsibility, and how much is it of the person's responsibility to form their best experience, but or how much is it a joint effort? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. See. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're not going to discontinue it because it is outselling the X, but it's probably another availability thing too. Then they're just like, well,
affordability. Yep.
I can find the S too, so it is more affordable. Yeah. And just in the spirit of spoopy season, of course, I had come across, I don't know when it's going to come out, but if you like those first-person cam, like horror games, we were watching one the other day where it looked like body cam footage. So this one's another one. It's called Paranormal Tales, and it's a body cam style horror game in the woods. And it already looked creepy enough having the woods look super real and have that footage to it. So it just says right now, release date, wish list if you dare. So I don't know if it's going to be, out for this Halloween or whatever. But if you were looking for, if that's your kind of game, I thought it looked kind of neat. I'm not brave enough to do it myself, but I'm sure we have listeners that enjoy spooky games, and this one looks like it might freak you out.
This is very PT-esque.
And realistic. Like
yeah.
That, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah, you know what? We never talked about that last week or the week before when they did the Silent Hill reveal.
I thought we talked about
Did
Silent
we?
Hill.
Well, I thought no, just the fact that PT just went unnoticed.
Oh, for sure.
Like they just went like,
Oh,
we're gonna sweep that under. I know that's what you wanted, but we're not gonna do that.
we're not going to do that. And I think I was just reading, now this is totally off my memory, about somebody who was redoing PT2 for PlayStation 5 or managed to hack it into the PlayStation 5 or something.
Doesn't surprise
I'd have
me.
to read into it more.
Doesn't surprise
It was
me,
one of
yeah.
those passing things because people just loved it and weren't willing to get over it, So, and it was great.
That's why I've
If it would've
never
been
deleted
fully-
it from my hard drive.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right,
Yeah,
I
now-
wishlisted it.
There you go.
There you go.
See?
You dared.
I dared.
You dared.
Also,
you dared.
I gotta just find good things that people would want to scare the crap out of me for charity for. So this looks like a good one.
Oh, there you go.
This looks like
There
a
you
good
go.
one.
Yeah,
So.
I was watching someone talk about it the other day, and I'm like, ooh, not for me. I would watch it. Now that I don't stream anymore, I don't need to play that stuff. And then one mention, just because we adored it here on the show, the remake or the reimagining, whatever, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the one that just came out, Shredder's Revenge, sold over 1 million copies.
Oh wow, nice.
And remember, it went on Game Pass too.
It's true. Okay.
So I'm super happy about that. It was just a joy. I don't know.
Yes.
Did you play them as a kid also, Yebba?
I played the one that was on GameCube. That was the
Okay.
one that I played. I think that was probably the last one, but I'm definitely a fan. I love the theme music is one of like the like quintessential joys of my childhood, that anytime I'm sad I just start singing the theme song and we are set, we are good.
Yeah, it's really hard to be sad when you're singing that song.
It
isn't
is.
Like,
It's very
keep
sad.
a frown.
Absolutely. But I know, at least from my circles and people in my community, that was a very well received game, and people had a lot of fun with it. So I'm also quite delighted to hear that, in terms of just I'm just so glad when people like stuff and aren't
Right?
just harping on it all of the time. So
Right.
it's the same reason why I just don't deal with Pokemon stuff in news anymore. It's like, I'm gonna play these games regardless. I don't care if you
Yeah.
guys complain about graphics. I don't care. I'm not here for the graphics. I'm here for
Right,
the cute
that does-
Pokemon. I'm collecting every single one of them, and I'm battling the crap and beating the snot out of all of these jerks. Like that's what I'm here for. If you complain about graphics, go play a AAA game. Don't
Right.
play Pokemon. Stop it. Go away.
I mentioned when we were talking about it initially when the game came out, probably when because we did a review of it a few episodes back. I mentioned how the game probably caused a spike and surge in sales for the original series because it prompted me to go look for it.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
suddenly there's Voodoo was sitting there saying, "Hey, we've got the entire series here for, $10 here, $10 there." And I was like, "All right, so I'll buy this season." And then that season 2. And,
Yep.
and then before I knew it, I've got 7 or 8 seasons. And I was like, shit, okay, so we're loving this. I'm
Yeah.
loving it. I know it was, people can say what they want about it, but I grew up on it.
Yeah.
And it was such a joy. It was like a warm blanket watching it again. So just like the game, it brought so much joy for so many
I
people.
looked like I slept with a hanger in my mouth. I was so freaking happy
Yeah.
the whole time. Like, just smile ear to ear while I was playing the Shredder's Revenge. I'm like, yes.
This is amazing.
Yes. It just hit every nostalgia bump properly in my mind. And it just felt like I had slid right back into an old, fan favorite.
Yeah.
next to a new friend.
I really hope they do more. I don't know if they do a sequel or maybe. I don't really see how you do DLC, but I guess you could.
Sure.
If it's like
Yeah, if you
different
really wanted to.
stages or something, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be
Challenges.
down for more. That's all I know.
Yep.
For sure. They did it well. They
Good.
did it very, very well.
Good.
Did I put anything else? No.
I do have.
I
have
did.
one.
I didn't want to go too over when you said we had a guest because
No,
I don't
it's fine.
know.
I do have one that I read this morning. Well, I actually read it last night, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but this is going to piss a lot of people off. It already has. And I'm not saying I want to be angry about this or upset. I'm a little upset, but hey, things change, things happen, and it could still be fine.
I think I might know what you're talking about, but we'll see.
This is semi-game related because it's something
Well,
that
it
is
was a game. Okay,
yeah.
so then it is what I'm thinking of.
So Henry Cavill is walking away from The Witcher after season 3.
Yeah, and Liam Hemsworth is going to be Geralt.
Now- Internet can be angry.
Of course.
I think Liam Hemsworth is fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But we've all kind of embraced Henry Cavill as Geralt. He is our Geralt. And knowing that someone else is going to be playing him now is just like, because you don't want to see recasting. It hardly
Especially
ever
with
works.
such a big name now.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's
But-
so enjoyable in the role, and it's one of those,
Well, he
the person
embodied it.
exactly the person
Yeah.
takes on that, like, it's also one of those. He's the first of that type of thing. Like, we've had how many Supermans?
Sure.
So and I'm glad that he's likely going to be going back for whatever next installment of
Supposedly
DC stuff.
he's 100% signed on for another Superman or two, whatever's going on now.
Yeah,
Behind the
so
scenes with that.
I'm sure that's going to be part of it, in terms of that casting was part of it, but also there's that anxiety that starts popping up of what are they going to do at the end of season 3? Are they going to be recasting more people because, is he going to regress in age? Are we going to get a different part of his story? And so there's also that like weird worry of like what else is going to change, but there's also like, but how does he just sort of insert himself because he's not going to be the same age?
Right.
They're not at all
And
the
he's
same
a
age.
little bit smaller framed too, correct?
Correct.
I mean, we're probably talking 2 or 3 years from now, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Before we'd even see any of this change.
Yeah, but having Henry Cavill's mass as somebody who's watched a lot of wrestling and bodybuilders, that is a lot of work. And
Yeah.
and it's not
And he's bigger now than he was in Superman.
exactly. And it's not that Hemsworth like can't do that. It's also but like at what cost? If you're going to put on 35-40 pounds of muscle in order to look like Henry Cavill, if you can even get close, like,
Right.
is that healthy for you? Is that even a good idea? So, I also come from like a safety standpoint of like, maybe, let's not put the aspirations too high on him being an exact replacement, and let's just see where the story is going and hope they don't screw it up. Fingers crossed.
Well, that's one of the theories that I was thinking, because wasn't he saying he would gladly sign on for the full 7-season vision they had, so long as they stayed faithful to the source material and the original writer's vision? So part of me wonders if
maybe that
was
straying from
starting to
that.
stray as well, and so then he had Superman coming up, so now it was all easy to pass the reins on. I feel like he would have done both. I don't know. That's got to be rough, though. That's hard.
I can't imagine he was going to have the time to do both, because take a look at how long it's been going
It's
into
like
production.
over a year between
pretty
seasons,
demanding.
I feel.
Yeah.
So for him to sign on to do a Superman movie and The Witcher, I think he had to make a
injured.
choice.
And
he got injured.
twice when he was with The Witcher, which also slowed down production
I
and made
didn't
it
know
very
that.
difficult. Yeah.
So
So
I-
Okay.
that
like
could
not
be
a
part
COVID
of it too.
thing. It was just he got injured.
I think one was like a shoulder injury. Hang on.
Oh.
But in any case, it would be very physically demanding for him to try and juggle both. And maybe it was just like,
You're
hey,
not wrong there.
He
who would you
tore-
rather be?
He tore his hamstring, which is not fun.
Ooh.
Like if you try to move around on a hamstring. Oh, a complete detachment.
Oh,
That's even worse.
No, it wasn't a complete detachment, but it was very close to being. Okay.
Oh man.
Lead with the close before you just say detachment of hamstring. Good Lord.
One of those clickbait headlines.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that
so
one.
I don't know.
And that is not fun. So, and he said last year that it was a very, very bad filming experience for him. So it could just be not very fun
just
for
not
him
be
now.
Sure.
what he probably harder. It feels like he probably has more passion for the projects he takes on than maybe
Some other people.
others around him. I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, from my standpoint, I can't speak for everyone, but from where I'm at, if I was offered to stay on as Geralt, which is a great character, or you can come back and be Superman, and it's under new management, and they're gonna do it properly, the way Superman should be, I'm gonna go with Superman.
Yeah.
Iconic.
and you probably have contractual obligations. in
No,
some
I
of
mean, I
those
think
areas
it's
as
been
well.
up
You
in
don't
the
think?
air for so long, where they didn't know, because take a look at the film Shazam. The Superman cameo was just a dude in a suit. And I don't know if it was like filming. I think it was a scheduling conflict that they couldn't get him back, but it always just kind of seemed up in the
Did
air.
he
It's
grow
like,
another mustache? Was that the problem?
you never know. I mean, that would have been funny for him to sit down. I mean,
Sorry, I grew
it would
another
have fit with the movie.
mustache. I can't do it.
But, I'm kind of on his side with that, because from what I've heard, I know spoilers abound, but I feel like it's already out in the open in the internet. He was in Black Adam,
Yeah.
and for a cameo, and he looked like Superman, the Superman that we've all been wanting him to be, not this dark, gritty Superman, which he is not.
Right.
Superman is not that. That's my gripe. And
Well, it depends on which version.
No. There is no other. He is the symbol of hope. He is the bright light. That's
He's
why
pretty
you have
consistent.
him. Yeah, contrast with Batman, who is the polar opposite. That's what they missed in that movie. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. Anyway.
But yes, I did see it. And I don't know. I have a little bit of a rough time envisioning someone else, just because you do get attached to a face, a character. If they were going to make Liam a new Witcher, a different Witcher,
Yeah,
that seems to make more sense to me, because people did fall in love with Henry as being Geralt.
Yeah.
Basically created that character for them on TV. So,
And you don't need to kill
see.
characters off. If you're uncertain of what they're going to do, like don't bother making this big dramatic thing of killing them off and bringing them back. Just make a different season. They did it with Book of Boba Fett. We were expected to not get any more Mando for a little bit, and then suddenly, we got Book of Boba Fett, and then again, spoilers abound. At the last couple of episodes, we got Mando and everybody back. So it's just I don't know.
have patience.
Yes.
Have patience. We'll
Yes.
see. And then, poor Liam hopefully didn't have to wake up to a slew of, I'm not watching it anymore.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dead to me.
Yeah,
I've already
Hopefully
seen
he
it.
just doesn't pay attention to the internets.
And it is disappointing, and I think fans are allowed to be disappointed, but it's also one of those don't take it out on the people who are going to be probably very excited to do a job.
Right.
So
and
it's
probably still do a phenomenal job at it.
yeah.
They're actors, let them act.
Someone-
See what happens.
Someone had a tweet of being like, I don't know if the kid from Hunger Games is ready for this one, and I was just like, that's pretty funny. So
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
So I've got some questions for Yebba. And Lace, if you've got some, you can definitely chime in, fill in the gaps, if you will. Well, since we're actually talking about comic books and that stuff, since we're kind of already on that thread, I want to talk about that, because we're far from the first podcast that you've guest spotted on. I noticed you went back to, you were on the MCU Need to Know back in April, talking about Moon Knight, and
Yes.
that's a show I don't want to be pushy, but I've kind of nudged and be like, I'd be a great guest on that show, and he's yet to
you
reach out. But you talked about Moon Knight, but you said that you were an X-Men fan. I bet you're
huge
like
X-Men fan.
excited for the X-Men to join the MCU.
I'm very excited, and I'm really glad that they're kind of using Deadpool as this thread to bring in all of these different franchises that you know have had adaptations before, Fantastic Four and a couple other things. Now, for context, I have not seen anything past Multiverse of Madness. I don't know what it is. It is a mental block in my brain, and I don't want to do stuff. I already know sort of what happens, so like I'm not like shocked or anything. But
Gotcha.
as speaking of characters that we know and love, I'm so glad Hugh Jackman wanted to come back as Wolverine, because I know how hard physically Wolverine 3 was on him. And then he had that like skin cancer thing and then a couple other things. So it was a very, very stressful time for him. So I'm really glad that he understands how important that character is and how iconic that character is, and that we get that full introduction of him into the MCU. I know, what is it for Captain Marvel 2?
Yeah.
We're probably going to be having Rogue from the speculations, which I'm clearly very happy about, as I point to the gigantic gray streak in my hair. So I'm really excited to have the Disney Marvel partnership money behind it, because I think we're going to get some really cool stuff. And like, it's not that First Class and all of that Inception and that imagining and those characters weren't bad. It didn't resonate with me the same way as X-Men 1 and 2.
Right.
And I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for it to kind of have that like X-Men Evolution, the animated series, kind of like little flit with it. So like,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful, and I'm not, they haven't, Marvel and Disney haven't steered me wrong too much in things, and they, even if it's something I maybe didn't expect or wouldn't have chosen, it hasn't been anything that's made me upset or feel like I'm being betrayed or feel like a character is not getting its shine or anything like that. So I've been pretty happy. It's a gigantic universe to work from. So I think also with the introductions of the Titans with the Eternals, I think that may be able to save that imagining a little bit. So by having maybe Galactic and a couple of those other characters not be gigantic sand tornadoes actually be like Titans and actually be what they're supposed to be.
We've seen Celestials as large beings, so yes, we better get a proper Galactus.
Yes. Did I say Galactic or did I say Galactus? I do that.
I may have said Galactic.
I meant Galactus.
It's fine.
Yes.
I knew what you meant.
Thank you.
So and I'm hoping, and I have nothing to kind of base this on other than just, like you said, speculation. I think we're going to see maybe some of those characters from the Eternals and Guardians, but maybe, I don't know.
And Harry Styles?
I don't know. I'm just, from what I may have heard.
But the question is, will we get more Howard the Duck? That is the question.
I want more. He needs a special.
I'm telling you.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Like Werewolf by Night, Howard the Duck needs a special.
I watched Werewolf by Night with a bunch of friends. I loved it.
It was fantastic.
That was so fun, and it was, there was so much good like practical effects, and the sound design was great, and it's like have more little itty bitty nuggets like that. Not everything has to be a 10-part series or a movie. Just give me camp, give me fun, and just give me 40 minutes. I'm good with it. So like have fun and be creative. And I like that they chose, not big names to do it, but very big and good character actors to make those come to life. So it was a lot of fun.
And plus it allowed them to introduce Man-Thing, which, I mean, how are you going to do that proper? I mean, they probably could have, but it was just a nice introduction to the character into the universe without having to do a big movie or anything like that. So yeah, I was excited by that. Same way I'm excited to see Namor in Black Panther. So yes, more special presentations. I want to see, I can't wait for the Guardians Holiday Special.
It's going to be so cute.
Kevin Bacon is officially an MCU character.
So good.
I'm eager to see where they go with that.
And it gives us a nice little focus on Drac and Mantis and characters that are pivotal and important and people like, but maybe aren't going to be the headlines for any of those big budget movies. So it's ways to satisfy your fans. As somebody who's been a part of many fandoms, just give us little nuggets and we will be happy. Just give it to us, and it doesn't have to be a big production, and we will be happy. And if they're not happy, they're just miserable people, and just ignore them.
Right.
Yeah, no.
They didn't want to be happy in the first place.
Exactly.
I kind of agree with something that Kevin Smith said at one point. He's like, I'll take this every day. These are my stories, and I'm here for it. So you can hate it all day long, but I'm going to love it every second of every day. So
Absolutely.
And we're getting Cosmo, a full Cosmo in that. I can't wait. Anyway, since kind of shifting gears a little bit, you used to have your own podcast too, correct?
I did. Yeah, it's been a scheduling nightmare for me, as you are very well versed in. So it's just been one of those. I'm also just apparently this is a thing now. I'm also just very much a no niche content creator. So, like, I like true crime. I like anime. I like comics. I like Star Wars. I like video games. I don't like video games. I like puzzles. I like Gunpla. I like, there are so many things. I like reading. There's so many things that I like and that I want to talk about. So it's very hard for me to find a focus sometimes. And I feel like that was one of those, like, I have a lot of fun doing a number of things, but I also have to make sure that I'm not burning myself out just because I want to do things. So the part of me, especially over the pandemic time, when I winded down on streams and I wound down on kind of just internet presence alone, period, and was working on myself, that was one of those realizations of, like, I feel like I can do these things, but just because I can do all of these things, should I do all of these things? So, but I enjoy podcast formats. I love Zoe to absolute death, and she's a fantastic co-host. And
I'm sure she got super busy too. Right?
And moving, and then working for the Sims and being, an all-star over there. So, it's also just been one of those, like, this is kind of the lesson I've been teaching my community is it's okay to change. It's okay if things don't work out, but at least you tried. And it doesn't mean that it's not gonna ever happen again. It's just not right now. And I think that people need to embrace that more. It's not a failure. You did something and you had a lot of fun with it and it was very well received, but just because you can't keep up with it doesn't mean it's your failure. It's just not in the cards right now. And it's okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to have to take that advice to heart because there's some burnout that I've been experiencing. And in the back of my head, that's what I think. Is like, who am I letting down? Who am I doing? Like, I'm worried about everybody else.
Yep.
But this guy.
It's hard.
And I feel like I owe it to somebody. And I don't know who I owe it to.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, there are passions, and sometimes when I complain about it or I talk about it, I'm thinking, do I not enjoy this? But when I'm in it, I do. Mm-hmm. I do. I really do. So then I get conflicted because I know I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to think on that.
It's one of those, it's just an introspective thing. It's also knowing that you have to give yourself a lot of grace. And it's one of those, not everything has to be final either. Yeah. Just because it's just like with TikTok. I had super insane, instantaneous success after like 2 or 3 videos. And one video alone got me like 15,000 followers. I wish I was kidding. So, and it's just one of those, but it was also like, I seem to be a unifying force for elevating Gundam building and the interest in the Gundam franchise to a bunch of different people. And I remember someone being like, but you've never talked about Gundam before. And I'm like, doesn't mean I didn't like it. Like, I grew up with Toonami. Right. I have watched that franchise for 30 years at this point. Like, it's just, I love Transformers. I love Transformers Beast Wars. I love all these mecha things. But just because I didn't talk about it doesn't mean I'm only interested in it because it's tracking now. So it also becomes this, like, imposter syndrome that you have to fight constantly. especially after little bits of success. And TikTok specifically, I feel like really destroys your brain and your confidence sometimes with this. Where it's just like, but I know this subject matter. Like, I've watched all of these series. I know the builds. I know the mecha. I know the pilots. I know all of these things. But then there's that, but you never talked about it until now. So therefore, you're a fake fan. I'm not a fake fan, damn it.
Right.
It's just like,
can't you show, like, look at all the stuff that I have before
Yes.
internet existed, people.
yes. And it's just, and it's just one of those, like, just because it was a part of me that wasn't out there. But but everybody knew that I liked anime, and everybody knew that I've watched quite literally a butt ton of it. So it's I don't know. It's this weird like thing of content creation of, I want to share the things that I'm passionate in because those are the things that I know that I can keep up with. But then you also have to constantly fight this part of you that says, well, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to be as good as this person, or you're not genuine and you're just doing this and you're going to ruin all of these fantastic hobbies and these loves for yourself because you're doing it for money. I'm not doing it for money. I can pretty much guarantee you I'm not doing any of this for money. So a lot of that is also like centering yourself. So I can't imagine people who do this full time. I can't imagine what type of stress and mental stress and burnout and these constant internal monologues and this constant talking has to be a toll on them, because I don't have to do this for money, but there are people who do. And that's what worries me a lot in this type of space of, like, you know, when your identity is tied to the things that you love and then you no longer have the love for those things, but you have to keep doing them in order to get your income. Like, that's something that needs to be, I think, discussed and discovered and broken down a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, you caught me on a rant.
No, it's fine, because you actually covered. I did want to talk about your TikTok because I noticed that you'd been doing stuff, and like you said, the 15,000 followers just kind of spiked, and
it's hard.
It's a platform I've been toying around with for this show, and right now I'm not really doing anything more than taking the artwork that we use for the icons every week. And then
which
putting
are so
it to
cute,
a little.
By the way.
Thank you. I try to work on them, especially for everything. I've already got yours done, by the way, and it wasn't very flashy, or at least I don't think so.
I'm sure it's great.
Anyway, but you know, I'll put it to a little music, maybe put a little filter on it and whatnot, and try to make it fit to what we're trying to do. But in the back of my head, I have bigger ideas, and I'm always trying to think, oh man, wouldn't this be cool? Because I thought it would be amazing, and I know that this is probably very impossible unless I pre-edited the video, is to do a Stitch, but not with this face, but my little animated face. And I thought that would be fun, but I don't know how to do that. And furthermore, I've thought about little shorts, maybe 15 to 30-second shorts with our animated characters. So it kind of gives you a little nugget of the animated series that we're trying to do. And it's just trying to figure out how would that work, or how could I make that work on a shorter platform, because I've got to write it quick. I've got to write it fast. Animating it, I don't think it would be a problem. It was just trying to come up with a content that's small. And
original short form content is very difficult. And I know that's why trends work so well on TikTok, because there is an originator. There's somebody who uses a sound, makes a sound, does something, and then people are like, that's a really funny idea. I'm going to put my spin on it. And then it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. But to be that person that makes that original bit, that is very hard. And that is very hard for it to get traction unless you already have like a really big following. And TikTok's algorithm is brutal. It will reward you for 2 weeks, and then you'll get 40 views for 3 months. And it's just one of those, like, am I doing something wrong? Am I, do I use too many hashtags? Is this not the content that people are seeing? But in actuality, it's just not being served up to the people who are following you. It's not being served up in the way that it otherwise has been in the past, which is why you're being quote unquote penalized for it. So it's also just, and the shorts runs the same way. I still haven't figured out TikTok Reels. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's just it's one of those, I can't do reposts because I need a business account, but I don't want a business account because I don't want any of my shit on Facebook. So like it's exhausting. It's exhausting to navigate all of this stuff. But I can say
you have to have a Facebook for TikTok.
Oh, it's all the meta consolidation crap.
I didn't know that they were all the same thing.
Oh yeah. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram and not WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
I think WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
Actually.
So which I think is still like the #1 used social media platform in the world. So it's one of those like just hearing you describe that immediately, my marketing brain said, oh, I know a perfect tool that can do that, so you can repost all of those things across different platforms. I know somebody who makes a very similar type of content as an avatar that I would love to introduce you to in order to pick their brain for how they piece together their videos. So like it's one of those, when you're a content creator, as much as it beats you down, it's so exciting. It's so exciting when you have something, and it's so exciting to rewarded, but not with numbers. You get rewarded with the fact that you're fucking done and you did it and it's out there, and you can no longer control how it's being received unless you market it. And that's another thing you can control, and that's another thing you can play with, and it's another thing you can have fun with. So it's very much like, this job is very exhausting and very rewarding. And it's not even two sides of the same coin. It's the exact same fucking side of the exact same coin. So it's just, I welcome people who want to try things, and I will always encourage that. But the main thing I want people to remember is you are way more worth than any number, metric, performance, anything that happens. So as long as you are doing something that you can handle and that you are having fun with, continue to make whatever you want to make. But please do not get bogged down on the bullshit. And it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to fight against it constantly. But just for the love of all that is you, just remember you are better than numbers. Just if you can do that, do your freaking best and do your darndest. So
see, this is what I was talking about, people. This is why you got to follow her on Twitter. You'll get this all the time. So
There you go.
and yeah, with our TikTok views, we're getting about what we normally get. So I'm just
I
like,
don't know. I've never ventured over into there.
well,
That was one. I just like, I didn't have enough Gen Z in my life to show me how to do it. So I was like, well, we're putting this down.
I mean,
I've reached the age now where I'm like, there's too many buttons. There's too much you want me to do. And
I'm not seeing
a lot of
these
practice.
huge, I'm not seeing these huge views, huge likes. However, we've talked about this on this show over the last few weeks. This fascination our audience, or our growing audience, seems to have on our Sonic the Hedgehog 2 episode. I'm not complaining. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But views are through the roof, and I don't know what we did. But I'm just like, okay.
It's
Let it go.
also the
the
power
Sonic.
of the share.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
It's also
So
the power of the share.
I'm just letting it ride, and
Yeah.
others are following suit. I think Cuphead was the other one, followed by Cult of the Lamb.
Love it.
ooh, there you go.
Love it, yeah. So whatever. Let's talk about Twitch, because I know you still stream over there, and
I do.
Curious about your feelings on the platform, as it's kind of been embroiled in some controversy over the course of
I feel like
time.
that's nothing new for Twitter.
Right, but I wanted to hear.
It does seem to have had a little different kind of an uptick here as of late. But
Oh yeah, the TwitchCon debacle and so on. Like, well, what are your thoughts? I mean, granted, there aren't really too many other places to go.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's been this story of the same thing that's been happening in the commercial sphere of conglomerates and monopolies, where when you only have a handful of things that control the market and that are the biggest tool on the market and are very hard to replace, it is going to be very hard for competition to exist. And there has been attempts, and there have been certain platforms, specifically YouTube and TikTok, as somebody who just did her first TikTok live ever using a OBS-like software over on TikTok. That was quite easy to do. And I already had an existing audience and yada, yada, yada. Sure. So I will say that for someone who is of the, I don't really want to say I'm casual, the more part-time hobbyist side of the grind, it is very hard to be discovered and to network and to be a part of Twitch to the degree that feels like you have, I don't want to use the word meaning, but that you have traction, that you have the ability to grow, that you have the potential that you would have otherwise. It's very hard to do that because I cannot constantly market myself on other platforms to bring people into the spaces that I'm in. I know what I can do. I know what I can control. I know I can do certain things, but it's still very much just like, ugh. So my Twitch channel right now pretty much exists to interact with the people that I have found and to interact with people that I may be finding elsewhere and bringing in and just doing the best that I can. But I also know, and I have the reality that this is a platform that doesn't work on discoverability. It very much relies on you to do the work to build your audience. And very much, it isn't a catered algorithm. It isn't something that gets served up to people in the same way that other platforms do. And I don't think it needs to be that. I don't think it has that. I don't think people should have that expectation with Twitch. But it's also very much Twitch is an end game. Twitch is an end game moneymaker. You need to do a lot of other work to be any type of moneymaker or have any sort of stability on other platforms. The only one that even comes close is YouTube. And that is because YouTube is infinitely scalable. I think people were under the impression that Twitch was also infinitely scalable, but as we are learning with the leaking of the different incomes, as we are learning with the losing of Twitch exclusivity, as we are learning with no longer having any other types of revenue split other than 50-50, it is not scalable. In fact, it is very much probably going to be slowing down in terms of scalability for an increase in income and an increase in audience, because that is just some level of transparency that people are just never going to be comfortable with. Go ahead.
Do you think the platform would have collapsed at this point had Amazon not supported it?
I think there would have been more room for having competitors, but I don't think it would have been a full collapse. I just don't think it would be number one. Gotcha. I think it would be number 3 or number 4 by now. Okay. But their lunch is threatened. I will say with the ease that I was able to spin up on TikTok, even though I don't have a TikTok key, which I am so desperate to get, and hopefully we'll hear back soon. So I can do dual streaming, and I can sort of present my Twitch content to both audiences and then still have my more exclusive Gundam content over on TikTok. So it's very, again, long form content, like live streaming and community interaction and everything is still very much the lifeblood of what I want to do. And it still very much is the thing that I have the most enjoyment. And I think because people have been around for 8, 9, 10 years in this type of sphere, either as a viewer or as a content creator, this is ingrained. These are our social circles. These are our community members. These are the people we can rely on for when we're feeling down or when we need motivation or when we need to absolutely see that new game and we know that this person has an in with Capcom and they're going to have it 3 weeks in advance. So like we have all of these things that have become so integral to how we consume that I'm disappointed, along with everyone else, that there are people at the top who have a vision that does not align with the actual purpose of Twitch. And, you know, Twitch is a community software. It's a way for people to congregate. And the fact that it just keeps being pushed as this revenue thing, as I just alluded to in the beginning half of my rant, is that it's like, we know it's a business. We know there's going to be ads, but if you're not taking into account how that interaction goes with people, what are you doing? And that's where the frustration starts coming, and that's where the friction is that it very much is one of the only softwares out there that can provide this much community interaction in a singular place without the level of upkeep that like a Discord would take or anything like that. So it's just, it's very frustrating because there are so many people who Twitch is a part of their lives, both in a macro content creation space, but also in a micro social space. And I feel like it's unfair to say, what was it that Boris Johnson said? Them's the breaks. It kind of sucks to say like, oh, well, that's just the way it is when we're already just so exhausted with all these types of platforms not treating its creators, but most importantly, its viewers as people and just seeing us as ways to monetize. So sure. It's exhausting. I don't think Twitch in the same way is going to collapse, but I will say it is not as infinitely scalable or reachable or doable, given the constraints that are now being put on there as something like YouTube. I think YouTube is and forever will be the ultimate end game if you can do that, just because of the ad revenue and the familiarity with the platform in itself at this point. Because that's what people are pissed about. People are pissed about ads. People are pissed about their people that they are watching who are getting screwed. And even though part of me is like, you're using a free service, so get used to ads. Sorry. Like, there's a part of me that is like that, but I also feel like there is something more that Twitch can do to be more accommodating and to not
less intrusive on the live element.
Yes, exactly.
That's
what
issue.
It is. That's what it is. Intrusive is a very good word. Thank you.
Just like the couple people that I've seen taking the ad deal, at least, and I watch very few now, honestly, because of that, because I felt like I was constantly getting stuck in an ad cycle and couldn't get any live content. So I go to like the same few people now. But they see when their ads are coming up and they'll actually like, okay, I'm going to take a break. We're going to go pee or do whatever you got to do. So they're taking their break. I'm not missing anything, going on at the time. And I mean, it still sucks, but at least the creator's trying to work within it as well so that their audience isn't, missing key moments. If it comes up when you're in the middle of a game, what can you do? But I watch a lot more like podcast talk style people. So and I think how it lent itself a little easier for them to be like, I'm taking a break right now when it comes up.
But I think that is something that the more folks are going to have to turn to. I know that I've had that in the back of my mind because, I at most stream 4 hours at a time. And right now it's been 1 day a week. So unfortunately, the last thing that I'm thinking about is when I'm going to be taking ad breaks in order to make sure people don't get them. So it's one of those, I feel like that's just going to be a new trained muscle that folks are going to have to maybe get used to it and maybe work around. And we're in an adjustment period. We're in an adjustment and growing period. And of course, people are going to be upset. I don't have the same doomsday thought process when it comes to like, oh, this is the death of Twitch. I will say it will be nice when Twitch is not the only space that can provide this level of interaction and provide this level of community engagement the same way that it does now. I want somebody to take their lunch. I want somebody to threaten them. Yes, we need competition. We've seen this with wrestling. We are now seeing this with the grocery store merger crap. We've seen this with a bunch of other things of we need competition because we need fairness for the consumer. And that's
think of all the cool things we can have when you're forced to be better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, literally. Accountability is useful. That's the whole reason, that's why, well, sometimes elections work. So, yeah.
I mean, we're not that far off from seeing Taco Bell be the sole restaurant. Remember from Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there eventually.
They do have some nice ones now, I must say.
They do, yeah.
They're
I mean,
cantinas.
Yes. First time I saw one in a picture, it was like in Minneapolis or something. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's 2 stories with the it looked like a little mall.
yeah.
It was a freaking Taco Bell. I was like, guys, apparently it sells beer too.
Can I share something that is going to completely rock y'all's world?
Please.
I've never eaten at Taco Bell.
Oh.
Hey,
You're not missing
good
much,
for
honestly.
you.
It all tastes the same. That's been my joke. If you've had one item from Taco Bell, you've literally tasted all of the items. It's just depending on whether you wanted a hard shell or a soft shell.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Taco Bell, Long John Silver's, and White Castle. I've never
Well, living
partaken
around
at them.
here, we dare not go to a Taco Bell. There's just too many amazing taquerias to go to.
Same.
Or,
Oh,
you know.
I live in like the freaking Empanada Center over here, and I live in Lakeview, so it's just very much just like I turn down the street and it's like empanada. I turn down the other street.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it's another empanada store. Like, why would I have anything else?
Right. No reason. No reason.
See, you
Unless
guys,
it's 2 a.m. and you're drunk, I guess.
Yeah, it's fair, 100%.
Yeah.
you guys have all the
close.
awesome restaurants where you are. I don't have that in my
The
neighborhood.
nice
I have to
thing
go
about being in a bigger city, I guess. Yeah.
I have to
Got
drive
access to a lot of great food.
40 minutes to Nashville before I can get something really interesting.
But you
I did
do
have
get
something
really good barbecue.
We do. We have some of the best barbecue and the hot chicken, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is a unimportant story, but I just thought I'd share. I actually had an Irish dish yesterday. Found this little Irish pub outside of
haggis?
Nashville. It was very interesting. Like I had this. I'm not a fan of like deviled eggs, boiled eggs, or whatever, but they had this dish. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like deviled eggs, and then I guess it was deep fried with sausage on
Like
the
a
outside.
like a not a Scotch egg. What is that called?
Well, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess it
was
would be
thinking of
something to
Scotch
that.
egg, but then
I guess that's what they would be. But I thought, I'm here.
It's like a
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's give them a try. Since I don't know if I'll ever come back. I probably will though, because it was a good dish, or the entire experience was nice. So
Yeah, that's good. And also, I apologize. Haggis is Scottish, not Irish.
that is true.
my
And
bad.
I don't think I would ever try haggis.
Oh,
What
some things
I grew
that
up
I
with
just won't.
I grew up with Filipino dishes from some members of my family. So like I've already had. I'm pretty sure I had like a cow stomach and sheep's intestine and a couple other things. So I'm just like, whatever. The texture is what set me off, but the taste was fine.
Well, I think it was like Mike Myers said in So I Married an Axe Murderer. They asked us, do you really like haggis? He's like, actually, no, I find it repulsive in every way. In fact, I find all Scottish cuisine was based on a dare. Like, okay, fair enough.
Oh, that's funny. I did like
necessity.
black pudding though. I did
Yeah,
like
see,
black
that
pudding
was
when I was there.
that was on the menu, and I was curious about it, and I thought, well, maybe next time.
It's got
I gotta
a
save
nice
something.
little spice to it. It's yummy.
Yeah. Lace, did you have any specific questions for
No,
Yebba?
I've just been enjoying.
The conversation?
Yeah, just been
All right,
enjoying
well,
the conversation.
I mean, we could continue a conversation, but I did kind of put together a little something if you guys wanted to play a game.
Let's go for it.
What you got?
Time to play Name That Game.
Oh no!
Oh, yes.
That's an old favorite. He's dusting
Oh, yes.
off.
I haven't put this together in quite a while. And in fact, disappointingly, I missed one. I forgot. Damn. I didn't set that one up. All right, so we're going to...
You should make these into Sporkle quizzes.
Okay. See, here's another idea. She should be our idea person. We're gonna
I
to
have
hire
so
her.
many. They
know.
just come to my brain, and this is also why I have a lot of like analysis paralysis when it comes to content creation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just very much like, oh, I should do that. No, I shouldn't do that. And then 3 months later, I was like, damn it, I should have done that because now it's here, and it's
Right.
happens all the time.
So, basic rules of the game, if you're unfamiliar, is I'm going to read you a description of a game. All of these, to my knowledge, will probably be out today.
Okay.
So we'll just say that. I think their release dates were either today or tomorrow. I may have embellished them a little to kind of give them some spark because...
Steven won't even accept their own description for their games.
Yeah, because look, okay, I appreciate...
I need a little zhuzh on this one.
Yeah, they're game developers, perhaps not writers. So they just need a punch up. I would
just like how I'm in
gladly.
marketing, but I'm not in branding. So
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It's not my thing.
So I will tell you the description of the game, and then I'll give you 4 choices to tell me which game you think it is, and
I
then
love
you tell me.
choice.
All right.
Same. We used to not get it, by the way, so
It's
we used to
okay.
have to just
But that was all part of the fun.
Yeah,
is trying to figure out, and I try to do my best to throw you. So here we go.
And he's good at it.
In this game, you will wake up in a dungeon, and you do not remember who you are or how you got there. But since all tunnels lead upward, it is not difficult to guess that, for some reason or another, you are currently at the lowest level. Soon you realize that the dungeon carries many dangers. You must fight enemies, look for keys to open to the next levels. As you progress, you will find answers to your questions. The stone walls of the lower levels will be replaced by more modern metal plastic on the top. Then, instead of torches, you will see electric lamps and computers. Eventually, you will understand what this place is. But remember the events that happened here in the recent past, answering the age-old question, who am I and why am I here?
Hotel Simulator. Final answer.
Is this game Ulysses Buckendorf, Percy Lancaster, Harry Pitfall, or Gene Dungeon Crawler?
So it's the name of the protagonist?
Yeah.
Boo. You're going to have to say them again.
A. Ulysses Buckendorf, B. Percy Lancaster, C. Harry Pitfall, or D. Gene Dungeon Crawler?
I'm going to go with B.
Okay.
I also just like the name Percy.
I liked the Buckendorfer.
Okay.
I liked that. I'll go with C. There's supposed to be a winner, right? I'll buck against.
Okay.
We got to have a winner and a loser.
The answer is B. Percy Lancaster. All right. 1-0. All right. Buckle
That's
up.
typical. I don't usually. I maybe get one.
That's
Now-
my old streak
only
was
one.
always like, yep. If I got one, I was like, yeah.
So just so you know, it's all downhill from here as far as the games we're talking about. That was the most normal one.
Further into the dungeon we go.
Yeah, you remember how this goes. I always like to find the real weird ones. Anyway, next game. You have been a skeletal warrior of hell for eons, and you've never wavered no matter the task. However, on a seemingly normal, blazing hot day, a super cute cat comes out of nowhere. You know that this pure, adorable creature does not belong in hell. So you resolve yourself to escort this cat out and back from whence it came. This is an action game with roguelike elements, permanent death, and random level generation. With upgrades that you can get as you go along. But as the difficulty ramps up, the further you go through hell, there will be elements of bullet hell. Steel your mind, warrior. You will be able to upgrade your defenses, your attacks, your speed, and more as you fight your cat's way to freedom. Is this game A. Catboy Crazy, B. Flipping Out for Felines, C. There's Something About Whiskers, or D. Pussy Panic in Purgatory?
Oh my God, I'm going to go with D just because I love it. I don't even care if that is the name. It should be the name, and I'm doing D.
I'm going to have to go with D too. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Answer is A. Catboy Crazy.
Catboy
Of course,
crazy.
the worst one.
Hey,
Developers, hire this
honestly,
man.
if they need to like maybe rebrand that and then use yours, I hope that you get all of the rights because that's a pretty fantastic one.
this is a question we've had numerous times. The titles that I come up with can sometimes be a lot more interesting than what they have.
Yeah. I always I'll pick my
Crazy.
favorites because I'm like, well, that's what it should be named.
And and even Catboy Crazy doesn't even give you the element
And
that it's in hell.
honestly, from the description, I kind of want to play it.
Yeah, it sounds really fun.
Yeah, you said rogue like saving a cat from hell. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Why not? I mean, some of these do sound really interesting. Like, I would give them a shot. Especially this next one. So, in this game, everyone in town has their version of what happened in Timmins Manor, even though none of them were there. Everyone has their theories about why a Timmins relative has not been able to set foot on the property in 100 years. But none of them are correct. Explore, converse, find clues, and solve puzzles in this short, quirky, single-player puzzle adventure. Can you solve the case of Timmins Manor? Is this game A. Supervisor Snoop, The Watchdog Chronicles, B. Hawkshaw McGraw, Public Dick, C. Jeepers Peepers, The Milksop Gumshoe, or D. Inspector Detective Private Eye?
Probably D because it's not the funnest of them all.
What was A again?
Supervisor Snoop, The Watchdog Chronicles.
But I loved C.
I'm gonna go with A.
Answer is D. Inspector Detective Private Eye. Look at that. Now you're tied.
Look at that. Woo! So that's my
Woo!
one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Here's the tiebreaker. unless you both get it wrong and then you're tied.
And then we're tied.
I would have had one more, but I screwed that up. It's fine. I don't even know where to begin with this one. That's why it's last. Get ready for the game inspired by the freedom and flexibility of your own self. The possibilities are endless, as are the possibilities of player interaction, which is what you're after. Create appointments, meet new people, and make new friends as you spend time together, exploring each other, and doing things you've never done before in a computer game. Is this game A. Hand Simulator Rendezvous, B. Nudist Camp Emulation, C. Ball Jugglers and Muff Snugglers, or D. Tossing Salad with Friends?
Oh my god. Okay, I loved C. I want it to be C, so it's probably not C. I loved it so much.
What was B again?
Nudist Camp Emulation.
Emulation?
Mm-hmm.
And what was A?
Hand Simulator Rendezvous.
I'm gonna go with that.
I do like the fact that it says rendezvous in it. But I do like B because I feel like the nudist camp would be a nice little swerve. Let's go with A2.
The answer is A. Hand Simulator Rendezvous.
Oh, I punched the mic. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We're tied.
Yeah, you
You're
made
tied.
C too good.
I'm
was
sorry.
No,
C
that's totally Steven there because I
Yeah.
was too creative and original.
I
But
can't
I'm
help
okay
it.
with being a tie.
It's okay. Yeah, it was a tied game. I'm glad. So there are no winners here today. We're all winners,
We're
We all winners.
Yeah.
as they say. But that's all I have, Lace. If you've got nothing
I
else.
think we're good. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Yebba.
I'm
Yeah,
so
this was
glad
a
that it
lot of
worked
fun.
out. Y'all are fantastic, and I had so much fun listening to the past couple of episodes. So because
thank you
I
for
was
listening.
sorely
Yeah.
behind. So yeah, it was fantastic. So and I will have to go listen to the
Excellent.
Hocus Pocus one because I'm curious. I'm curious about y'all's
Yes. They're
feels.
good. They're good people over there.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the podcasters assembled/disassembled humans. They're lovely gents.
And I always tell people if you kind of like, wanting your opinion heard, you just want to throw your hat in the ring. It's a fun time. You don't have to do anything massive. You can do like a 5-minute little, hey, I love this movie. This is why. These are things I love about it. And then that's it. It doesn't have to be super detailed like some people.
Excellent. Well, why don't you tell the good siblings where we can follow all things YebbaDebba?
Oh, that's me. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dancing, apparently.
Yes.
So I have the brand miracle of having almost the exact same username across everything. But I will say probably the 2 places where I post the most is going to be over on TikTok, which is going to be at YebbaDebba, especially if you like anime, Gundam, and just ridiculous nostalgia content for TikTok in your 30s. I would probably say Instagram. I'm probably going to be posting a bit more over on Instagram than I am on Twitter. But if you do also like Twitter, I will be there occasionally. Same on Twitch. And then I am trying to get my YouTube channel off the ground. I will have some original content over there, including playing Mass Effect, playing it next month, and I'm so excited.
See, like now you're doing Resident Evil, right?
Yes, we're trucking through Resident Evil. I did Chris's side. I do have Jill's side back from 2019 when I first played it. That was the first time I ever played a Resident Evil. And I have that one, and I don't have I still have my headset, and I'm pretty sure part of my stream setup was still from my laptop, and it was just kind of fun to look back and be like, oh, little baby streamer Yeva, she was just so adorable. So, aww. and then yeah, now we got these shenanigans. So, but yeah.
I have to admit, I got a kick out of your TikTok where you're doing the everywhere you look and the Full House.
Full House.
Yeah, and then just looking at the screen.
I'm so sad I can't post that on YouTube because it will be DMCA'd out the wazoo. But
heck, Twitter might catch it too.
Yeah, I was careful not to do there. I'll probably try a Reels and see if that does okay. They're a little bit less strict over there, but it is the Wild West in terms of audios still over on YouTube. I've only had a couple, or on TikTok, I've only had a couple taken down. And I actually had my first community violation, but then they cleared it from my stuff. Cause I just said somebody was like a crybaby bitch and I got in trouble. And I was just like, I have said a lot worse on everything. So, it's not that big of a deal. So I think I may have just offended somebody and they mass reported me. So, but they very quickly removed it and they were just like, this really wasn't that bad. You're fine. I was like, cool, thanks. Appreciate
YouTube could be like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue, Lace.
Excellent. Well, I think that's our show then.
Yes.
You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or you can go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. You can also send an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com and also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app, and even going over to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. If you want more things other than just the podcast, visit the YouTubes at youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. We're getting better at Discord. Come help make us great and click the link and join us, which is in the description down below. Thank you for listening. I'm Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.